Hey, without introducing myself, I'm going to be doing voice impressions. But before I start,
I would like to explain what true love is. Oh, I said before I start, but I started already.
sorry, my bad. So like I said, I'm going to explain what true love is.
So can we put up John chapter 15 verse 13 on the screen?
Sorry, my bad again. So before I start, okay, you know what? John chapter 15, verse 13, which says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friend."
Deep. Hello, everybody. So, normally, I know you'll be surprised to see me in this kind of video here, but don't let us get too distracted with the topic here. So, let's test what Jaja got to buy verse 14. Verse 14.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, verse 14. So Jesus says, "You are my friends if you do what I command." Wow, hallelujah. So Jesus friends if you do what he commands.
But what did Jesus command? So, now, you don't just read scriptures out of context, fam. You got to take us back to what he commanded.
Nah, please take your time. Is it not you that say we should test you? I don't know if you are the one preaching yet. See, please. Don't even let me be annoyed.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, no vex. I'm just playing with you, fam. You know, I'm just joking. I just joke a lot, you get me? So if you guys are not being see me, I'm sorry. I'm just catching cruise, honestly. Okay, you know what? Let us start saying it then. Let's go back to verse 12.
Verse 12. So Jesus says, "My command is this: love each other as I have loved you." When you look at this command, Jesus did not just say love each other. He gave an example of how we should love each other. And that example is himself. Jesus' love is sacrificial. No feelings, no sentiments, no emotions attached to it. It's unconditional. He gave up his own life for we undeserving sinners. He didn't say, "Oh, these people did not deserve to be saved" and stuff like that. No. He wanted to reconcile us back with God, and he didn't care about the emotions that had to do with us rejecting him. So he still laid down his life for us regardless. Well, you may say to yourself that, yeah, I cannot kill myself or somebody. Well, it's not that kind of thing. You can sacrifice your time. It can be with your time, with your resources, with your care. Different kind of ways you can sacrifice something for someone by showing love in that form of way. Because there's this statement that goes, "I put God first. I put God first." The way I see that statement is, God that I put first, what did he do? He put me first by sending his holy son to die for my sins. So whenever I make the statement, "I put God first," in that sense, I see it as putting people first, serving people first, but for the aim of good. Because you can also sacrifice your time for evil. You can sacrifice your resources for evil, not for that, for the aim of good. Because that's what Jesus did. He sacrificed his life for the aim of reconciling us back with God, and that's good.
Bro, you've been talking since and I don't even interrupt.
But he just did.
Well, a lot of us are here. Barack Obama even has something to say. You know, let's
It's okay, guys. Please stop fighting. It's okay. I'm going to go on from here. Jesus says this: "You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I've called you friends. For everything I've learned from my Father, I've made known to you." So what Jesus is trying...
It's okay. So to shed more light on this, Jesus is trying to say, if we obey his commandments of loving each other as he has loved us, we are his friends. I know this is like a hard commandment, like, how can you love everybody and stuff like that? But at the end of the day, he still commands us to do so. And for you to do what is commanded of you, you have to obey. And my life class teacher once told me, you can fake obedience, but you can't fake submission. So in that case, for obedience to be appreciated, there should be submission from the obeyer. Obedience gives evidence that you belong to Christ, while submission shows that you are committed in fulfilling his aims. We need the Holy Spirit to shape our hearts, to show this kind of love that God gives. Because in a world consumed with self-care, self-love, only if you treat me well, I'm going to treat you well, conditional love, erotic love, Jesus calls us to run the race in the opposite direction. Not to show a worldly type of love, a love that is sacrificial, without preference, without condition. When you show that kind of love, others can't help but to see Jesus in you. Showing true love would even encourage believers to do better of themselves. And it's even a form of evangelism to unbelievers, because when they see you showing a kind of love that the world cannot give, they can't help but to see Jesus in you, and they want to see Jesus in themselves. There's something I say, the way people see Jesus in you is how they want to see Jesus in themselves. So be a good ambassador for Christ. When Jesus was explaining in Matthew chapter 5, verse 43 to 48 about loving your enemies, he was saying, what is special if you love only those that are your friends? What is special if you love those that are lovable, those that are kind? There's nothing special there. Anybody can do that. But it takes the Spirit of God to love those that despise you, antagonize against you, resist you. It takes the Spirit of God to also want good for those that hate you and do a lot of things to bring you down. So, and Jesus was saying God's love is perfect because God sends rain and give sunlight to both evil and good. So we ourselves, we should love perfectly. Jesus teaches we should love others for their sake, not ours. When you get to understand this, you will see this sacrifice as a joy, and it will become a part of you, because you will not be having any expectations of getting something out of a relationship. True love needs nothing in return.
The Black Panther says we should take a look at verse 17. This is my command. Love each other